You know, sometimes when the wind whispers just right through the cypress trees along the Guadalupe River, it can still be heard. It's not a sound, really. More like a feeling, a hum in the air, of saws biting into timber, of hammers striking true, of laughter echoing down by the riverbanks. It's the song of Kerrville, born not just of stone and wood, but of dreams and grit. Texans remember when this land, this magnificent stretch of the Texas Hill Country, was mostly untouched, wild. The river, a silver ribbon winding through green valleys, was our life's blood, and those ancient cypress giants stood like silent sentinels, promising shelter and prosperity. It was Joshua Brown, bless his pioneering heart, who first saw more than just trees and water. He saw a home, a community. He saw a future where families could thrive, where the bounty of the land could sustain us. And so they came. Not with much, not most of them, just a few belongings, a lot of hope, and calloused hands ready for work. Every single plank of wood, every single nail driven felt like a victory. We built with sweat stinging our eyes and the sun beating down, but oh, the joy of seeing the first cabins rise, smoke curling from their chimneys, a true sign of life taking root. We shared what little we had, celebrated every small triumph, and mourned every hardship together. Now there were lean times, make no mistake. Times when doubt could creep in, cold as a winter's snap. But then you'd look at your neighbor, see that same unwavering resolve in their eyes, and you knew you were not alone. We learned from this land, and we learned from each other. The river gave us power for the mills, the deer gave us sustenance, and the very act of building day by day wove us together. From a small logging camp, a true town began to emerge. First stores, a blacksmith, a post office. Each new addition felt like another heartbeat, stronger and more vibrant. We weren't just building structures, we were building lives, forging a spirit of independence and community that still runs deep in these hills. When I look around today, I don't just see the streets and the buildings, I see the ghosts of those first dreams, shining in the morning sun, reflected in the clear waters of the Guadalupe River. I hear the echoes of those saws and hammers, a symphony of purpose and perseverance. Kerrville. It's more than just a place on a map. It's a testament to what can be achieved when people come together with faith in the land and in each other to build something truly lasting, truly beautiful from the heart of the wilderness. Kerrville, generations ago, the grandfathers and grandmothers of your grandfathers and grandmothers built this city with nothing more than a cooperative spirit, true grit, and the common purpose to build a community their way, Texas style. Conversation.
Right.
Hi, I'm Kevin. What's your name?
Captain Juan Gomez, Salvation Army.
Good to meet you, Captain. Captain, you were telling me a little bit earlier about your history. This isn't your first rodeo, so tell me a little bit about your experience with disaster relief before this.
I was 16 years old, and I lived in McAllen, Texas. I was living in a area that constantly is in threat of hurricanes, and we finally had one come through. It came right through the neck of our woods, and my grandmother was adamant about the fact that we were going to keep ourselves busy. So she took us to the Salvation Army, and she started cooking in the kitchen, and she put us to start serving, and we started serving meals, and she started cooking them, and that was the first time that I started doing disaster work, and I fell in love with it.
I don't know how old you are, and I'm not going to ask you on camera, right? So, myself, I'm 53, and I was in the Florida Army National Guard. So I was down in Homestead for Hurricane Elena or Andrew in '91.
Okay.
Is that
okay?
You go back that far?
I don't go that far back. No. I'm going to say I started my footprint probably around, of course, Irene, Ike, Dolly, Harvey, Rita, right? And so it's...
And talk to me about the lodging in some of those places. What are some of the weirdest places you've had to stay while you're there for an extended period of time?
Hurricane Rita is probably the most difficult. We went into the stadium. We were the first ones in. We deployed in with a crew of National Guard, and when we got there, the building that we were supposed to stay at, water had not receded yet, and so we had about half an inch of water still in the gym, and so we stayed in the gym, set up cots. We pushed out as much water as we could, but there was still that humidity there.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where we were for the next 2 days. National Guard on one side, Salvation Army on the other side, and making it work.
Yeah. Did you happen to make it out to Katrina?
I wasn't Katrina. I was there twice. So it was Hurricane Katrina, and then what you have about 5 or 6 weeks later, you had Rita that came in. So
and what was your role there?
I was a volunteer for both of those. That was before my time as taking on the active role that I'm in right now. And so I was the canteen coordinator for the McAllen Corps. So I was responsible for the canteen, that's the mobile feeding unit, and putting that team together. I did that as a volunteer. We would go out. I had a crew of 4, so there was 5 of us total. And we would go out and we would serve meals. That was back in the day when we used to cook on the units, and so we were cooking and serving, and that was our ministry at the time.
Awesome. And when you think back to the other disasters that you've been to, Katrina, Ike, and so forth, and then you compare it to the volunteer turnout that we've seen here in Central Texas, how does it compare? Have more people showed up? Is it about the same? Were you disappointed with the amount of people?
You know, that's the one thing I think that I can always stand firm on is there's always a response when there's a call for volunteers, right? And I've been able to see that from both sides of the table. I remember being the volunteer coming in and having that call, you know, that onus that was placed on me by my grandmother saying that, yeah, we have water in our house, but there were others who had more water. And yeah, we have a need for food, but you know what? There are others who can't do anything about their need. So we're gonna go take care of them and God's gonna take care of us, was kind of my grandmother's thing. And she instilled that in me, and that's just something that that cultivated something in me. And in turn, I think through relationships, you know, my family, same thing, right? They have the same thought processes. And what we find is that when there is that call, no matter what's going on in somebody's life, no matter what pain or hurt that's going on, what the climate may be, physically, spiritually, politically, there's always that response. Right. And so we see that response. It comes in strong, particularly when you have something like the Salvation Army that has a history of that support.
Sure.
Yeah. So I'll give you this, for example, right? I'm here providing emotional spiritual care right now to first responders.
Sure.
And so today alone, I've had the opportunity to speak to over 200 people.
Oh, wow.
Just having the time to listen to them and kind of talk to their stories. And today's a relatively slow day compared to where it was yesterday, because we had the rain come in last night. I think that kind of slowed some things down for us. Mm-hmm. But there's a good response here. I've talked to people from far Texas. I've talked to people from Dallas. Earlier today, just outside, before I was talking with you, I was talking with someone from Kansas who came over with a team of 3, and they're here providing services. So it is one of those things where, especially during this time where we're so close to the disaster still, those that are here are volunteers, and they're coming in to give the most valuable thing they own, which is their time.
And as you mentioned earlier, so now you are, correct me if I get the wrong title here, pastor, priest?
I'm a pastor, yes. So I carry the rank of captain within the Salvation Army. Mm-hmm. So I'm a captain for the Salvation Army. Yeah, I joined the seminary college in 2012. In 2014, I graduated from there, and so now I have the opportunity to stand on the other side of the line, where I was once called to be a volunteer. Now I call volunteers to service, and so it is a stewardship thing for me, understanding, of course, what that call means.
And as a man of the cloth, here standing amongst what is arguably the pinnacle of God's work, right? Volunteerism, helping your fellow man. Is there a message that you have for the community? Is there anything that you want to say about this community?
Yeah. I think it's important that we look past the hurt that we sometimes experience and the pain that is sometimes so visibly in front of us, to remember that God's hand is still active. And we're able to see that in a cold cup of water or a warm plate of food. But we also see that in the time that these people are coming to give. They're doing this out of their own pocket, right? They're doing this out of their own generosity. I started to say something a minute ago, but the most valuable thing they own is their time. They have no idea how much time they have left. They know how much money they have in their pocket, but they don't have how much time they have left. And for them to give that, to come here, to serve, it is a show of blessing. And we get to see God's blessings in God's hands, not only in the plates of food and the cup of water, but in the smile and the warm conversations we're able to have with our brothers and sisters who have come united to support others in a time of need.
I want to ask you, and it's going to seem like a misplaced question, where does politics fit in all of this?
I don't know.
Just doesn't.
There's a scripture that is sometimes misused and misquoted, but Jesus said, "Render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and unto God what is God's." Right? Ultimately, it doesn't matter whose face is on the coin. It doesn't matter the purpose that we're gathered together or why we're doing things. I think at the end of the day, the importance is God is still in control, and we need to give him the due honor and respect.
Captain, thank you so much for your volunteer service. Thank you for being out here to support our first responders with their emotional crises and the psychological crises. I mean, this is truly heart-wrenching work for people out there literally looking to recover lost family members of all ages.
Yeah.
So thanks so much for being here, and thanks for making the time.
Absolutely.
Heartbreakingly, recently, the Lord has seen fit to ravage this land, calling his children back to the streets of heaven. Sadly, the smiles of the very best of the next generation of Texans born in Kerrville, well, their smiles now adorn the streets of heaven. We miss them, we love them. They were our life's purpose. Please know that they will spend eternity in a perfect place, in perfect health, forever. My fellow Texans, mourn your losses, mend the fences, make better friends. God bless Texas. God bless America. Thank you for listening, and good night.